Ladies and gentlemen, I'm reading from a Washington Examiner article. See it, Trump mocks Biden, claims he has a certain cognitive issue in Wild Post. This is an article just published now, July 31st, 2022, 6:33 p.m. So on Truth Social, Trump has just gone off on Truth Social. It's very interesting. But if you actually, it's really, really interesting. If you search what he actually stated, it's nowhere to be found, which I find very bizarre, but I'm not surprised. Former President Donald Trump accused President Joe Biden of having a certain cognitive issue rather than the twice diagnosed positive case of what he's experiencing now in a backhanded get well message on his Truth Social platform that spurred a wild rant Sunday. The former president began by trolling his successor on the social media site over his re-diagnosis. The sarcastic opener led Trump, and then it goes on down a rabbit hole, joking Biden was, quote, thinking of moving part-time to one of those beautiful Wisconsin homes before rehashing his grievances with 2 years ago and reiterating his debunked accusations, completely debunked accusations of. So the interesting thing is, every time Trump brings up his accusations of 2 years ago, even in the Washington Examiner, I love the Washington Examiner, but it's completely debunked. Baseless, false. I mean, you have Reuters, you have the Associated Press, you have even conservative publications. Nobody did that for 5-6 years of allegations pertaining to Trump, Russia, which were completely fabricated, contrived, manufactured. They did not exist. He did not work with the Kremlin. It never, ever, ever happened. They call it Blue Anon, and that's basically it. I was against that absurd message board hoax when it first started, and I'm against the Intel government-funded, media-driven, absurd fantasy and hoax pertaining to Trump being installed by the Kremlin. But notice that when they make accusations against Trump, media, baseless claims are made all the time. Clinton accused Tulsi Gabbard of being an operative of another country. And yet, it's never condemned as baseless, false, all this. It's just accepted as, well, we need more information. Isn't that interesting? By the way, hit subscribe to this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, become a member. Hit subscribe. The membership's on the homepage. Starting tomorrow, August 1st, 2022, you will get a lot of H.A. Goodman. You will have 2 segments in the morning at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Pacific time every day from here on out forever. Just expect 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Be here on this channel tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time and at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And I will also have corresponding YouTube segments on the stock market crash and the nuclear confrontation channel. So in total, you'll get 2 segments on this channel, H.A. Goodman, 2 segments on the stock market crash channel, and then 2 YouTube videos on the nuclear confrontation channel. I'm growing that one. It's about geopolitics, foreign affairs, foreign policy. That used to be the Bitcoin crash channel. Bitcoins will crash below 10,000. We're going to have a terrible economic downturn, much worse than what we've seen. And I predicted all of that in September of 2021. So hit subscribe to all 3 channels. Watch the playlist below in the description. If you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. Your support is greatly appreciated, people. You want to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, other publications, go to hagoodman.com. Now, ladies and gentlemen, so be here tomorrow, 8 a.m. I will also have a live stream tomorrow evening. So be there for the live stream. But here, so you have Joe Biden's second bout of, sometimes referred to as, was sadly misdiagnosed. He instead has a cognitive issue, but is happily recovering well, Trump wrote. See, it's kind of hilarious. Joe is thinking of moving part-time to one of those beautiful nursing homes where almost 100% of the residents miraculously, for the first time in history, had the strength and energy to, okay, so he then brings up 2 years ago. The interesting thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that here's my only critique, okay? There's no doubt that President Trump is far and away the #1 person in the Republican. He is the Republican Party. There is no Republican Party without Trump. Okay, there is no Republican Party without Trump. We understand this. He's the only person that brings energy, enthusiasm, electricity to the Republican Party. Otherwise, you could have Joe Biden run every 4 years, actually, and he would defeat Mitt Romney. He would defeat Paul Ryan. He would defeat Adam Kinzinger. He would defeat Liz Cheney. Okay, mashed potato brains would easily defeat them. Democrats have all of media, social media algorithms. They have the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They have loyalists within government. This is obvious. You'd have to be an imbecile to believe that the playing field is level. You have journalists who are now really activists. They are extensions or operatives of the Democratic Party. There's no longer the journalist that really doesn't care about political parties. These people have a vested interest in seeing the Democratic Party defeat Republicans. Now, the interesting thing is, whereas this is a hilarious post on Truth Social, there has to be a better way of communicating Trump's accomplishments. Okay, he hasn't officially announced. He'll officially announce in the next couple of months the Durham Probe Special Counsel, which will get a conviction. But the thing is, it's not even about initially convictions. It's about getting information. When people say, oh, nothing's going to happen, it's like, well, the information we derived from Robbie Mook and Mark Elias from the Durham Probe Special Counsel is devastating to the Clinton campaign. And I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been saying that forever. I want that. If it's Gavin Newsom, I will laugh. This Newsom against Trump would be like the 85 Bears versus Jerry Nadler's softball team, okay, with Trump being the 85 Bears. It would not be even a contest. When you have a recall in a blue state, you're in trouble. But here, the main thing, you have videos of him at expensive restaurants while everybody is eating at home and stuck and not being able to go out. Anyway, it would be unbelievably hilarious. But there needs to be a concerted effort by Trump. And I'm going to talk about this in the mornings on 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. every single morning on this channel. So set your dial, set your watches. Make sure that you don't even need a notification, ladies and gentlemen, to my 7-minute crowd. You don't need a notification. If you enjoy my work, if you enjoy my personality, you find this enjoyable, you find the stock market crash channel and the nuclear confrontation channel enjoyable, be here on this channel at 8 a.m. and I'll have probably a segment prior to 8 a.m. I'll have a segment prior to 8 a.m. on the stock market crash channel, and then after 8 a.m. on the nuclear confrontation channel. But you will have 3 segments of H.A. Goodman around 8 a.m. and on 8 a.m. and then 3 segments on starting at 11 and around 11 a.m. But so 6 segments before 12. But anyway, Trump needs to find a way to communicate his accomplishments, which were profound and numerous. He needs to find a way to communicate these accomplishments. He cannot continually just on Truth Social with every search engine trying to bury the hilarious statements. He can't continue this beef, creating beefs on social media. It's hilarious, but it doesn't work because it provides Democrats with political momentum, political will. It actually fabricates or manufactures enthusiasm they don't have. Nobody's passionate about Joe Biden within the Democratic Party. They are passionate about their political party. And so when Trump only goes after Biden, it's hilarious, but he has to focus on the recession. Talk about real wages down. Trump needs to bring these things up. Inflation at 9.1%. The third quarter is going to be negative also. We had household median incomes at an all-time high with Trump. And so the thing is, the economy was fantastic. You're going to, ladies and gentlemen, I understand my viewers are like, oh, nothing's ever going to happen, all this and that. Watch this channel. Tell your friends about this channel. We're going to talk about the Durham Probe Special Counsel. That thing is in the first inning. We'll talk about Trump announcing. We'll talk about the midterms and Republicans owning the House and the Senate. They're going to get the Senate, people. If they don't get the Senate, it'll be because a whole lot of people want poverty and recession, because third quarter is going to be real bad. It might not be as bad as second. It could be worse. I'm not sure, but it'll be negative also. The estimates are that it's positive. I don't see how. And that will only push the Senate into Republican hands. Trump Republican hands. You have to understand also, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be Trump Republicans. It'll be Trump Republicans. It ain't going to be the Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan Republicans. So you're looking at a completely different ballgame, people. A completely and utterly different ballgame. It's not the same type of situation that you had with Trump and Republicans, and it is a complete paradigm shift within the GOP. It's a much more populist political party. And you need that. You might not agree with everything that Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene or Rand Paul or Ron Johnson, you might not agree with everything, but there's a lot that the left and Marjorie Taylor Greene agree with. The far left, I should say. There's a lot. There's a lot that the left, that people on the left agree with Rand Paul about foreign policy. So, but that's a more populist Republican Party. The reason the Democrats want Liz Cheney is because they want a weaker version of themselves that's a bit more conservative. That's what you have with Kinzinger and Cheney and Ryan and Mitt Romney. These are dinosaurs. These are fossils. They don't exist anymore within American politics. And so Trump has slowly redefined, recreated the Republican Party. Also, Republicans have a huge problem with public relations, even Trump Republicans now. They should have simply said, look, there's $400 billion that they put into the burn pit bill. Okay? They should have explained that immediately after voting against it. But see, again, Jon Stewart is doing a great thing. I think that Jon Stewart is doing an excellent thing, going to bat and supporting veterans. I support veterans. And I think that this bill should have been passed a long time ago. You had these issues with Desert Storm. Okay? But if Republicans are going to vote against it, they need to say, hey, the Democrats added $400 billion in spending that has nothing at all to do with veterans. Jon Stewart isn't talking about that. He's talking about the morality of it, and I agree with him. But see, again, in terms of public relations, explain. The bill will pass Congress eventually, but explain. Then you give Democrats this moment of they pontificate and they preach. I like what Jon Stewart is doing. He's fantastic. But then at the same time, he's like, oh, yeah, these Republicans voted to send people. The Democrats did also. Without the Democrats, they're not sent. Now, why do you think the Lincoln Project is now embedded within the Democratic Party? Because the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Republicans are basically today's Democrats. And so that's something that Jon Stewart doesn't see, even though I agree with him with what he's doing. He also doesn't see the $400 billion added into the bill. So that's something that these Trump Republicans have to address in terms of public relations. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. Be here tomorrow, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. You don't even need a notification, but if you do, hopefully you get one. But just be here every single day at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. And let's grow this channel to 200,000 subs. Thanks, everybody.